All right, this is Maria Imp. I am calling the Franklin Public Library Board of Trustees meeting on Monday, July 22nd, 2024, 6 p.m. to order. It is 6:01. Roll call. Anne Marie Klubgia.
Here.
Judy Williams-Kalaki.
Here.
Mike Karalovitz.
Here.
Terry Barris.
Here.
Annalie Bennon.
Here.
Alan Alexandrovich.
Here.
Doris Weber.
Here.
Michelle Eichmann.
Here.
We also have present Jennifer Luffel, the director, John Nelson, our mayor, and Kelly Hirsch, the director of administration. Is that your title? Excellent. Okay. I'm going to start the meeting tonight with a story. I'll try to keep it short. Some of you are aware that I have a son who is serving with a volunteer organization in Sierra Leone, Africa. He is on a hospital ship with a volunteer organization, and he is a mechanic, actually, not doing medical stuff. But the ship has, in early mid-June, sailed to the Canary Islands, which is Spain, Santa Cruz de Tenerife, Canary Islands. And about a week and a half ago, he sent me this video. And as he's walking through this plaza, there is this building with windows on both sides. It's like a V-shaped building. And he's like, "This is so cool." And then he walks over to the windows. And actually, the windows are a 2-story, building, but then the actual building is underneath the plaza level. It is their library. Wow. And he said, "I'm not going to understand a word I read here, but I'm going to go to this library." And the reason I tell this story is because John grew up in this library.
He did.
He is from the Miss Debbie Barbara Rourke era, when Miss Sarah was a high school shelver and then became an intern and stuff like that. And here he is halfway around the world, and it is unsafe for him to go to the public library in Sierra Leone because to leave the ship would not be safe. But he's now in a first world country, Spain, Canary Islands, and he's able to explore. And what does he do? He goes and he finds the library. And he doesn't care whether he can understand it or not, but he wants to explore the library. And that is just a testament to the staff here at the library. It is a testament to what we do for our community and what the library does for us, that he would seek this out in another country, in another place. And so, of course, being the mom I am, I go to the library's website and I look at their programming and I see what they're doing and all that good stuff. And I'm like, "Oh, yeah, we do that too," and all that kind of stuff. But it is just, amazing that I can testify to that because I am on the board, but how many other people does this library and this staff touch that go out and do similar things, whether it's, and I won't tell the story of me visiting the library in Ashland last week, but, how many of our other patrons do similar things. So, yeah.
She does.
She does.
I send her pictures.
She does.
When I'm traveling.
Excellent.
I
Of the
saw-
libraries you visit.
I saw it out in Bulgaria last
I
week
know,
too.
right. So anyway,
And it's
so my
massive.
son is like exploring and it's a municipal library similar to ours. It's, not the main library there, but it's one of the satellites. So
Good for
yeah.
him.
Okay. Thank you for, letting me do that and sharing that with you guys. So, all right. We are going on then. There's no other public here to comment, so we'll go on to our minutes on pages 2 and 3 of the agenda of our last meeting. Any,
I make a motion to, approve.
all right, Doris,
I'll second.
Doris and Judy. Any other questions or comments or notations on that?
Looks good to me.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed or abstained? Motion carries. All righty, we are privileged to have Mayor John Nelson and our City Administrator Kelly Hirsch with us tonight. I'm not sure why, so no, we welcome them no matter what. So
Thank you.
yes.
Well, good afternoon, and I appreciate the opportunity to come here. We are in between meetings. Our next one's Civic Celebrations at 6:30, so we really appreciate being able to come here early and just say a few quick points. Recently, the Common Council passed a very large citywide initiative to address a lot of the needs, building and maintenance wise, and that's a monster, especially for this library. And Kelly's going to touch on more of the detail of it. I'm just going to do a little overview, and knowing where we're at that point, that we, these other buildings have mold and issues here with the cooling system, and I see that, the $23,000 Band-Aid that's been put up on the roof. We're addressing those things. So there, and I guess you just had a finance meeting before this where you talked about your budget for.
Right.
Are there more of those meetings coming up regarding your budget, or was this the first one?
What we went through today is what we're going to present to the board at our next meeting.
Okay. So
This was our third meeting.
third one.
Yeah.
Okay, good. That's you're ahead of the curve with others, so it's excellent. So that's my thing is I just want to come here, say obviously number one, thank you for everything you're doing. This is wonderful, and some really good news that Kelly's going to share, and then we're going to leave and go to the other one.
You already shared the good news, but
That it's good news is good news.
She's got the deets.
right. So you all are aware. My understanding is Jeff Van Ness with Johnson Controls was here. He spoke with all of you. Did I believe a little bit of a presentation about the items that would be fixed and encompassed in this larger initiative, right? So you know it better than I do. The building is over 20 years old now. There are things that are failing. It's time to basically repair these things, but not repair, repair. And the repairs, as you know, cost a substantial amount. We've not stayed up on the maintenance due to budgetary issues and constraints throughout probably the 20 years, really. And so as a opportunity to mitigate those issues and that risk moving forward, we have contracted with Johnson Controls, who is acting as our contractor and procurer to bring together and finalize these projects. So phase one, the library is going to be impacted directly and quite quickly, along with the Fire Station 1 and City Hall and minor items over at Law Enforcement Center. So we are taking it in phases because we can only do so much with what we have. And the library will be getting new solar array panels on the ceiling. Your boiler and chiller will be replaced. And then as something that's occurring with all of the projects, or all of the buildings rather, is there will be some envelope work, so windows and what have you, doors, just to create ADA compliance and also upgrades as necessary to make it energy efficient. So that's kind of what I can tell you is that we've been lucky enough to have that passed by the Common Council and have the mayor's support, and we're really excited to see how this all turns out. My understanding is that they've got quite a substantial history of doing this with other places, including municipalities. Yeah, and one of the one that sticks out in my mind, because I went there for college, is that they started with lacrosse. They had a phase one, and I think they're now on phase 7. So it's just hugely successful, and the building's going to be part of that.
Excellent.
So, yeah.
In case I haven't been on top of this, how is all of this going to communicated to the community? Right, is this in like the city newsletter or on websites, so that they kind of know phases, here's what's going to be done and things, here's where your tax dollars are going, let's say?
Yeah, we haven't really talked about that outside of common council meetings where it's obviously in the packets and stuff. I'm sure that the amount of people that follow common council meetings and read through these packets is very small, minor. So obviously this is something that's exciting. We'll want to put together probably a press release and put that on our website, put that on the social medias for our council members and just kind of share that good news.
Because we're going to share that news,
Newsletter.
but we're also going to be preparing the haters that are going to be coming, wondering,
Wow.
which I get normally from my predecessor and his people, about why we're spending so much money on this, and this. And then you're going to have the people who are going to try to pick that apart. But we are prepared for that. And we also see the greater good that we're doing and the need that's been, ignored or punted down the road, so to speak. So
I think
now,
if people realized how badly it's needed,
very few do.
and very like health concerns in
I
some
don't
of the
think very few
buildings,
do,
and
right?
Because they look out-
Don't speak.
Well,
Yeah.
they do because they look at this castle and what's wrong with it
Yeah.
and that's just because I get it back at me.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying that we're prepared and we're getting ready to go and we just the first step was passing it, second step is communicating it, third step is implementing it.
We've done some community listening sessions here as we're going into our next 5-year strategic plan. And one of the biggest things that we've been hearing from the people in the city is just lack of a city hub communication. A lot of people that do get their city information do rely a lot on the city newsletter, and a lot of them complain that now it only comes out, so irregular or just
Well,
not
it's
as often
quarterly.
as it
Yeah.
used
Still
to.
quarterly.
But it used to be
It's
monthly,
fast.
and that the websites are not as updated as they should be from City Hall, and that they just would like more communication. So I'm sure that as this is out, they'll appreciate that.
Under-
Because a lot of people do use it. That is the good thing, is because a lot of people are like, oh, I do find out stuff by the newsletters and by the website. They just want more.
Yeah.
Under the former mayor, back when our mayor was just an older, just like me,
Yeah.
it was under Olson that presented to us as a council to
Right.
do the newsletters quarterly.
Right, it's
Due
been
to
a
the
long
amount of
time.
cost that it saved.
Yeah.
I feel like a survey, something, I feel like
There was
we
a
did-
survey that went out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that went out.
It's a lot of work to do.
9 out
all
of
the
10
time.
people get that newsletter and automatically throw it in the garbage.
Mm.
The
Oh,
famous,
definitely.
The famous joke throughout the city for years, long before I was even an alder, is that point a former good friend of mine used to be a friend who was still at the city, but at that point she was a dispatcher. People would seriously call the Franklin Police Department to ask when trick-or-treating is. And it's an
I
ongoing
believe
joke.
it. Yeah.
And it's in the newsletter, but people don't read the newsletter.
Absolutely.
And actually, I've been impressed with our city website. I get information as quick as it's posted up to the city website.
Yeah.
As
People are
county
always
council
going to
president.
complain. It doesn't
So
matter.
we're
Yes, they are.
constantly
Yeah.
updating our city website. The information, as soon as it comes out to us alders, I look at our city website and it's almost automatically there. So I
Yeah.
think the communication aspect of it's gotten better. People may not choose to be on social media. At this point in time, or at this moment, we've chosen not to do a city Facebook page. A lot of legalities with it.
Probably wouldn't if I was you guys
Well,
either.
it has a full-time.
It's a full-time
position.
job. And Kylie certainly doesn't have the time. The mayor doesn't have the time. None of us have the time to sit there and monitor
Yeah.
and pick out certain residents who are going to put, I look at the Franklin Police Department page, right? And I cannot believe the comments that people write
Very rude.
to our Franklin Police Department.
Yeah.
And it's like, they know who you are. You're right there saying these rude things.
Yeah.
So, and I think I'm the only alder that chooses to update my social media page as much as possible.
Yeah.
And that's not a prerequisite for any of us alders. I just happen to be on Facebook maybe more. Or
I
more
would
Facebook
ask the
savvy.
question, so where do you most hear about this, or where do you think we should post it? And they would tell us, what social media, and I would just go, okay, I just want to know. And I'm like, we post it there, we post it there.
So I'm wondering if it would just benefit the city in general, if since this project, this huge project, involves the library. If we would
We
be
should.
proactive,
We can do that.
and we would put out on all of our communications what's happening, why it's happening, and
I think that would be
that kind of
helpful.
thing. And if the fire department, I know, is benefiting from this very first initial stage of it, right? They should put out in their communications instead of
That they're
relying
excited that
on
it's
like
happening.
the city
They- yeah.
newsletter. But if every single
Building
every
was
single
saying it.
thing,
Yeah.
every single that's involved repeats that information to a public, because I'm not following the police department necessarily. Facebook page.
Well, I
I'm
agree
not,
with you.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if
Well, then
I'm
it's a whole
following,
city
so many hours.
cooperative
Right.
that we're all
but
in it
if
together.
everybody that is gaining from this project puts it out there, then we should reach a good
Yeah.
amount of the Franklin
It would
residents.
probably help if there's a
That are
approved
interested.
messaging that can be
Yeah,
Yeah.
used
a
everywhere.
consistent, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not that we're doing this to dress up and make buildings pretty. As I've mentioned in this meeting, when we
Right.
talked about costs before,
Right.
next door they have mold growing
Yeah.
in their
Yeah.
building. They come back from a fire. Luckily, our city doesn't have the amount of fires like we used to back when my dad was on the department in the old days, in the paid on call days. But they come back from putting out a fire or in full gear in an accident scene, and they don't have air conditioning. I mean, our firefighters, first responders who are responsible for saving us all, heaven forbid, if we needed an ambulance. So, these aren't things to make the city prettier or dress up
Right.
buildings.
It's
These are
about
all.
safety.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
It's safety,
And efficiency.
it's energy efficiency,
Right, yeah.
it's mitigating
Yeah.
risk.
And I think,
Because
yeah,
of we haven't been able historically to stay on top of the replacement fund that should have been occurring. And as a result, it's just too much all at once to take on. But what we can do and what this does is it resets the clock for these buildings, or at least in these areas, and gives us time to then again plan forward and set aside funds and make sure that we are now able to in the future afford those things that we need to do.
Yeah, I think another thing that's really huge is that you got a partner who's they specialize in this,
Yeah.
Right.
right? And everybody knows Johnson Controls, so I mean, it's not like you're working with somebody that
Right.
right?
Right.
You know, so you have a reputable organization that is now doing this. So that in itself should make people feel comfortable. I would
Yeah,
hope that the
name
money is
recognition.
being
Yeah.
spent, well in dealing through this. So it's quality work that's being
Big
done
money.
as well.
Yeah.
and two, we were figuring out the library board, or the library would save 25% energy costs with the solar.
Potentially, yeah.
So, we spend $80,000 a year on electric. What's 30% of 80,000? That's savings that the,
Yeah.
Right. And without prolonging the
Right.
the conversation too much
Well,
longer.
now it's done
the-
at once too, is
Yeah.
the,
Who did it before?
sorry.
I'm getting one.
Several other municipalities are doing this too. Franklin's not alone. So
Yeah.
for once, we're above the average by doing this versus Franklin being the last municipality.
Thank you for your
Well,
time.
thank you.
Appreciate the
Thank you very much.
support.
Appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
Tell the Civic
Thank you.
Celebration Commission thank you for me.
Once you guys have your message out, we'll be happy to share and
Thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you.
And, most of the messaging that we do put out should be on our website on the
Right.
main page, and you just keep scrolling down.
Okay.
Right.
So,
Thank you, Kelly.
All right,
We will.
thanks.
And just to say one more thing on the record, for years, we have been carrying a fund balance in anticipation of all of this. And I know that there has been discussion both ways about that fund balance, and we should be spending it and that kind of thing. But this is exactly why I think we have been doing that. And so I feel like we as a library board are prepared as much as we can be for this too. So
We
Yeah.
were budgeting for it
Right,
anyways, and we need it. So
So.
this is good news.
yeah. Alrighty, well, they're not in the room, but we thank the mayor and the city administrator for being here. So we will move on now to our finance committee and approval of our vouchers and invoices from Fund 15 and 16, which were just handed out to us. before the
It
break.
was nice that they came in person.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, looking at Fund 15 expenses, the refrigerant leak, $23,000 is the only significant item. Otherwise, everything else is kind of like what we would expect. So I'm looking for a motion to approve $35,535.58 of invoices from Fund 15.
I'll make the
motion.
I'll second.
Okay, Michelle and Annie.
Before you vote, can I just ask, so that's coming up Fund 15, the leak repairs, out of what category, and are we gonna be over budget in that
Oh,
category?
yeah, we will be.
Are we gonna need to do an amendment, or are we gonna be,
Well, it's a,
We're ju-
no.
We're just over budget.
We're just
oh, just over budget, okay. Because I know for some of them, they've had us do, I think it was mostly substantive repairs and not, or substantive buying and not.
Capital stuff.
Yeah, capital stuff.
Capital,
yeah.
they're very.
Okay.
And what
I will-
exactly did that do?
Okay, so
We
I just want to
rebuilt-
mention that.
Okay,
Okay, so our 22 refrigerant
Yes.
is
so expensive.
it's so expensive. It's $200. It's $200 for a pound of R22,
Yeah.
and we put in
$19,000 worth.
$19,000 worth, but we didn't pay $200. Chris Ziggy gave it to us pretty much at cost.
Oh, that's nice.
That is
Thank
super
you.
nice.
Yeah. So, because he felt very bad that we
Yeah.
were this close to a new
Yeah,
unit
and we
and
had to do it.
had to do
to
it.
carry
Like,
it.
it couldn't just limp along this summer. It had to
Had
go.
to
So
do
that 23,000 could easily have been a $30,000
Yeah,
That's nice of him.
bill. So
nice. All right.
Any other
we
questions?
Sorry, Mike?
Nope.
Okay. We have a motion on the table.
And
So-
second.
And a second, exactly. So any other questions about that? All in, this is specifically for the Fund 15 invoices approval. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Anybody opposed or abstained? Motion carries. And then Fund 16.
Fund 16, again, nothing that much out of the normal, so I'm looking for a motion to approve $4,400.47 for the Fund 16 expenditures.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Doris and Mike. Any other questions about those 6 items? All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed or abstained? Motion carries. All righty, continue.
Let's see. My report, June was 49, represents 49.73% of the year. The Fund 15 revenue is 95.69% of the budget, and we had a very solid investments yet. Total expenditures were 46.91% of the budget, according to the report that we had. Now, one of the things later on we get into, we didn't have the electric bill, and then Jennifer gave it to me, so I put it on my spreadsheet. Having done that, expenditures would have gone up to 47.37%.
Okay.
But let's work with the 4691 because they just didn't have that, and that's what the report from the city shows. A new account to be used this year, 5115, salaries temp, and that's because we have the summer intern.
Where was that previously? Because we've had summer interns now.
We'll probably use the same account.
Where was,
sometimes they put them in part-time.
okay.
Sometimes they do temp.
It was accounted for.
It's always
Well,
a
no,
just
I
an-
know
just
that,
another-
but
just
where,
another
but it
place.
wasn't, but
It wasn't
now we can
delineated as-
actually budget in its own account and, okay.
But then they might put it back in part-time
Well,
salaries.
okay.
As long as the personnel stuff is,
And we get those
Overall.
numbers from the city,
Okay,
yeah.
all right.
Um,
Wait, time out. I have to see, I had some notes in. Nope, we're good. Sorry.
Okay, then all the other expenditures were pretty much what was anticipated. As I'm going through this and looking through all the numbers, I noted there was very little that was jumping out at me that I felt like I needed to make a comment on. So we're really getting things well organized, I think. Fund 16, total revenue was 46.79% of the budget. Again, good money on the investments. Expenditures were 55.57% of the budget. Library materials had no expenses posted to Fund 16. And I found that it's because the foundation paid for the library materials this 1 month, over $9,000. So that's why we didn't have anything in there.
It was half of it. It was half of it. It was 40.
But you
about
posted
4,000.
nothing in Fund 16.
Yeah.
And you said because the foundation paid.
They did. They paid so we get 9,300 for the whole year. So we split it in half. So they paid
Yeah.
4,000 something this, and then at the end of the year you'll have the same situation.
Okay. Other than that, library, our Fund 16 expenditures are as anticipated, and the cash report was perfect. I almost
As
think-
usual.
As usual.
As
Almost-
expected.
As expected.
As expected. Okay, I found my question.
Okay. We're past that now. We'll move.
I know we are, but I gotta
What-
get it in. So, as a Franklin resident, I've already received 2 sewer charges. What is it? We have not received any sewer charges. Why don't we get charged for? It's been nothing the whole year.
I thought it had something to
Like
do with
it's
the fact
quarterly.
that it was no,
we're,
it was
we're beyond 2 quarters.
I feel like
Like
was a
I'm
reason.
just there's
Last
probably
year.
an answer that I don't remember, and I'm admitting to that right now. So somebody just needs to remind me why we don't get charged for sewer.
this was something weird last year too.
Right.
It's sewer and water are all on the same.
Yeah.
Well, they are, but why?
And so, as opposed to breaking it out, because this
Is that why?
is an allocated expense to us, I believe, from the city.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like electricity, sewer,
something-
natural. I don't see water broken out anywhere.
I feel like we got hit with it.
Okay, I see water.
Yeah.
Look at the water charges.
Right.
There are 1, 2, 3 out of 3 empty columns, 4 empty columns and 4 filled columns. And the sewer charges are for, I'm looking at your spreadsheet, Alan.
Right. But again, it's billed quarterly
Yeah.
to the city. The city allocates something to us, and they're just not breaking it out between sewer and water. They're giving us one allocation,
Okay.
and we're posting
Yeah.
it in water.
All right, gotcha.
I'm pretty sure
Gotcha,
that's what
gotcha.
they
So
know.
it's all, then why do we have the,
Because we just haven't deleted it
okay,
yet.
we just have, okay,
We
gotcha.
stopped posting to it,
All right.
and we've stopped
See, I knew I just needed that explanation
Yeah, and we
answer.
stopped budgeting it too.
Because I get my bill and I'm like, how come it's not on the library bill? All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Let's see where we go from here. Okay, on my spreadsheets, again, the only thing that I saw that was messed up was we didn't have the electric bill on a timely basis yet.
So we addressed that kind of last month.
Yeah, okay.
And we never really asked somebody specifically to check with the city why that
There-
recurring
There's a meeting
payment
that
is not-
Danielle was supposed to
Okay.
be at, and
She is the audit. She's
Okay.
swamped until
yeah,
August
Okay.
with the audit. So
And I get that, but I feel like we've done that since the new administration has
It-
started.
it's not like they're posting things in the wrong place. They're just behind in their posting. I
Okay.
don't like to accept that as an excuse.
Well, like I said, it seems like we've gotten that now since they've all started, but if that's what they're saying, that's what we'll go with.
I have a question.
Sure.
So now the money that we had budgeted for the boiler, does that just go to the city?
yeah. Now I'm sure because there will be cost savings with electricity and stuff. I'm sure there will be some expectation
Of that we just don't get
because
that
that
money now?
yeah because that's how they're going to pay
Right.
for it
Right.
is with the savings. So
Because we had that budgeted in this year, right?
yeah.
Okay.
The boiler was, I think, next year.
Boiler was next
No,
year,
it
but
was
it wasn't
next year.
even in ours. I had it as a city expense.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Air chiller was this
Or
year.
air chiller, that's what it was. I knew there was something this year.
Yeah,
Okay.
Really, I thought that was the city also.
it is, but that was this year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was
So,
it this year.
so when we look at the capital budget, we have all these things listed because we want to know that they're being done. It's not that there's something that we have to pay for. So it's not like the money is going back to the city.
Okay.
It's never coming.
Okay. I just want to be clear when I'm looking and when we're talking about strategic plan, so,
Okay,
okay, thank you.
you're welcome. Any other questions? All right, then,
Oh, I guess I have one more. Now, we shouldn't have to close for that, right?
What's that?
For any of that, because it's all out of the way. Right?
Solar installation or
I guess
anything?
that's not financial. This isn't really the time I should be
So they want to get it
asking
done
about
this fall,
that. Right,
and because temperature wise,
right.
you know, because they're replacing the air chiller. But after we need the air conditioning as much.
Right, but I
And
thought he said it was
replacing
gonna
the
take so
boilers.
long to order.
We've got an agenda item for that, right?
Yeah, we do.
Oh, okay, we'll talk about it later. Sorry.
I think it was in my monthly report.
Yeah.
okay. Here it is. Then we got the credit card summary and we just had that passed out at this meeting. Looking at this, again, I don't see anything that's jumping out at us. It looks normal.
Good.
So unless anybody had any questions on my spreadsheets, again, I think everything moving along well.
Yeah,
All right.
especially
Yeah.
considering how much you're
And-
moving around.
And then, for agenda item 5C, is there a report of your meeting, or should we table that to the next meeting? Because there's a report of the finance committee meeting, which I assume just took place.
Yes, and there was some thought about presenting something to this board, but Jennifer said, really don't have it ready to present. Let's save it till the next meeting, so if we can table that.
We made
So-
some changes in numbers, so.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, so am I hearing, Alan, you motioning to table that?
I move that we table that.
Excellent. And I will second that.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed or abstained? Okay, agenda item 6, we are moving into a new year. According to our bylaws, our year starts in July, so we have a new library board that was approved. It happens to be the same members. And we need to choose new library board officer positions. So, as president, I am going to move directly to the treasurer's position and nominate Alan to continue as our treasurer. I know this is a little out of order, but I'm going to pull rank as one of my final maybe moves and move that we elect Alan to our treasurer's position because he does such a fine job.
Thank you.
I second that nomination. Can we make him?
Can we
Can
make
we just
him?
vote him in?
So do I have to say I accept the
Well, I
nomination?
suppose. Do you
Okay.
accept that?
Of course.
Okay. All right.
Thank
Anybody
you.
else really want to challenge him, or anybody want to nominate someone to challenge him? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Anybody oppose or abstain? Motion carries. All right. Sorry. There we go. Alan is our treasurer once again. There we go. Okay. Phew. Okay.
Roberts
Wanted-
is rolling
Wanted to
over
make
in his
sure. I
grave.
know. I yeah. I haven't watched that trustees. You know,
Oh,
the trustees training on the
trustees
Robert's
infomercials?
right? The Roberts Rules refresher course. So maybe. Whatever.
Maybe.
Okay, so then I guess we go back to the president position, knowing that whoever takes over will continue from here. So
I nominate you.
Second the nomination.
okay, does anybody else want to step forward in the president's position? My concern is that I've done it for a while and maybe it's not a good thing. However, that being said, the only way I would do it again is if you all agree to meet with me one-on-one within the next 3 months to give me feedback on to give me feedback on how you want the board to proceed.
Absolutely.
But if there is somebody else that would rather move forward so we have a little change up, that would be good too. Mike, are you nodding like you want to step forward and nominate?
No, I'm nodding that I agree with you that this would be a good thing to do to have you as president.
I don't mind doing it. You know, I have the
I make
time.
it so easy.
What? I know it would make it so easy, but my
do.
concern is that it's stagnant, and so I don't want it to become stagnant. I'm glad we're in a strategic plan year. I think that is good, but I definitely don't want it to become stagnant. So if you all agree to talk to me within the next 3 months,
I agree to talk to you. I vote, yep. You have my confidence.
all right. And
Whatever. we
Individually,
do.
do we have to say, yeah, okay?
I don't know. I think we need a motion.
I
A motion for what?
I don't know. Do we need to move?
I think you
Yeah,
need
we
to accept your
action.
nomination.
Okay, I accept the nomination. So
All
then,
in favor?
All righty. Well, thank you all. I will be contacting you because I'm serious about this. All right. So Doris has been our vice president. Doris, would you accept going forward as that? Or is there someone else that wants to step in? Or does anybody nominate
I've
someone
done
else?
nothing as this position, so I.
Because Marie's been at every meeting, and usually the
I've been at
vice president just steps in when the
Right.
president.
I haven't had
Well,
to.
there have been situations where you haven't been here and Carrie has done stuff, and we've always said, you need to have some type of. So, in other things that I've been part of, you would have an executive group that would get together to put together the agenda. So it wouldn't just be the pres, right? You'd have the pres and the vice pres that would get together and doing that. And I think that would be helpful as a change. And I think that would make Doris feel better that she's now going to be doing more as
Right.
vice president.
I can do that.
Yeah, because you're not here very often.
No. Never.
All right. Do you accept?
I accept.
All in favor of Doris continuing?
Aye.
Wait, who did the nominating motion?
See, we didn't.
Is that what we're doing? Because that's what you did for treasurer and president.
I thought Marie nominated her.
You nominated
Yeah.
someone for
I-
a second.
Did somebody second it?
I will.
Mike.
Okay.
Ex post facto.
All right. All in favor again?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed or abstained? All right. Secretary. Annie?
Anybody want to be secretary?
I nominate Annie.
Do I get an off year every once in a while?
I tell you what, if you want to be president, I'll just. I offered to do this last year.
No, I wasn't here last year.
Maybe
Secretary in absentia, if I remember correctly.
No,
That's why you're a good secretary. You not only do a great job with the minutes, you remember everything exactly.
Right?
I think Mike is nominating.
You
her.
would remember being
Right.
elected
Yeah.
when you weren't here.
Annie, do you accept?
Yeah,
Mike,
that's
was that a
fine.
motion?
Yes.
All right.
Second.
Do we have a second?
Alan?
Alan. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Anybody abstained? Or okay. Perfect. So we have President Maria Imp, Vice President Doris Weber, Secretary Annie Oklubgia, and Treasurer Alan Alexandrovich. All right. This is very unusual for the past 2 years because I've been president. We have not had enough members to do committee assignments, but everybody's here tonight. So let's take care of this. Right now we have, I have it here. The Finance Committee is composed of Alan, Terry, and Mike. The Buildings and Grounds is Anna Lee, Annie, and Michelle. And then the Personnel is myself, and Judy and Doris. Is anybody strongly wanting to switch this year to a different assignment?
I don't want to switch, but
Okay.
can I add myself to another committee?
Oh, okay. So we also have the ad hoc strategic plan committee of
Well, yeah,
Mike
but
and
besides that
Yeah,
one.
you want to do a different one, right?
I
Another
am
No, it's
not
just-
sure how I
Or
how-
not add, but can I just attend more, which I've already done, just because I want to understand more?
Well, it is my understanding that all of our meetings are open to the public.
Oh, okay. I'll just come as a public.
Is that
member.
okay? Because it's my understanding that each member is only assigned to one
To one,
committee.
I'll just come as a public
Mm-hmm.
member. Okay, that
Right.
works.
Okay, so everybody's okay with their committee assignments this year?
Well, I was thinking, since I've already done personnel and I've already done finance, if there's anybody that wants to switch out of buildings and grounds and hop into finance
Yeah.
or personnel, depending
Sure.
on what everybody else is doing.
I just have the survey down already.
So
it's
we
easy
have
to stay in there.
Annalee and Annie and Michelle. I know, I still
What
have
does
this
personnel mean?
old- Well, it's heavy in the next few months, which is probably also.
Oh no,
Well,
he's
now
on
I'm
finance.
coming off of
He's
finance.
on
Oh,
finance.
he's coming off finance.
He needs to switch with somebody that wants finance.
Nobody's,
Nobody
nobody's
wants
that crazy.
finance.
I don't want
Finance
finance.
is quite a bit more involved, right?
I don't-
can't get-
I
I'm on
don't.
like
You don't.
seven boards and
I
stuff.
don't-
Yeah, to do more
But
boards
if
and
I mean,
stuff.
if nobody else will, I can
Kinda
switch
will.
with you.
Extent of extent.
I
I would.
I started on finance. I could go back onto finance if you wanted to go onto personnel. But no,
I'm
you
sure he
want to go
doesn't.
onto buildings
He
and
doesn't want to
grounds.
buildings and grounds.
Okay, sorry. It would be Annalee, Michelle, or Annie. That's what he's looking for. And if not, are you okay staying where you are for another year?
Sure.
There's a hesitancy.
You don't really find finance to be a lot of work, do you? No, because I do most of the spreadsheets and put
I ask a
them
lot
together.
of questions.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You know, we
You- you-
kind of talk about direction and things like that,
Yeah.
but
that kind of input
Yeah.
is valuable.
it's been a good group.
And you're good with math.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think
Maybe
he's
you
a
should
math
just go to
teacher.
some of the building and grounds. Just add yourself like I'm gonna add myself.
Oh, there I go.
You can come.
Thanks, Doris.
You can come walk around, do the
Yeah, you can
walkthrough in
come
I
and
think
do
April.
the
it would be
walkthrough with us.
interesting
He
to do
doesn't
that
want-
every once in a while
want
too.
to.
Yeah, if you do them during the day when I'm teaching, that would be an issue.
We can do them in the evening if it works out. I'll go in finance if you become the secretary.
We are getting deep into negotiations
Ain't
here.
playing poker with you.
I think that's a good call.
So what are you thinking, Mike? Stay on
I
finance?
think so.
How about if we do like our walkthroughs and stuff in the evening, and then you can join us?
Yeah, that'd be
So-
great.
Then you just pepper them with questions. You don't have to do any work. Just like interrogate them.
Well, that's
As a member of the public, you can.
all right.
away.
So
I offered.
officially, we are all staying on our own committees. Am I getting that? Okay.
Yes.
All right. Let us move on then to the anything else about board stuff. Okay. We are going to move on to the strategic plan update.
Well, we don't have any because we haven't had a committee. We haven't had a meeting since the last board.
I'm
meeting.
sorry, the mid-year strategic
mid-year
plan
strategic
plan.
from
Oh,
yeah,
sorry.
Jennifer's strategic,
Jennifer's
not the
report.
committee update,
Yeah.
but
Oh,
the
yeah.
actual plan update. So,
In the interest of time, I don't have to go through every single thing.
Mhm.
Um, there have been a couple of things that have been completed since
Yeah.
we last updated this, notably in Andy's meeting room. That's all done.
oh yeah, that is exciting.
The public have been reserving their own rooms and paying.
You know, I have one comment on that.
Yeah.
If you try to cancel,
a room or a program.
well, I guess my experience has been a program, so I don't know if it's different for a room. But you have to go through an email process. You can't just
Yes.
cancel
Yeah.
your thing.
Yes.
Yeah, there's no way to just.
And if you lose or delete your email, then or can't find it, then
Then you gotta call.
oh, you can
You have
call.
to, you can
yeah.
call us and we can do it.
Okay.
I noticed that also,
Yeah.
but
It's,
I was like,
it's,
oh, this is
it's
kind
a
of pain.
little, yeah, it's a little putsy.
So that's just the only way to do it. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know. If
I
that
can
was
double
maybe
check
a
with
setting.
Andy. I can double check with Andy to make sure, but.
Maybe that would be something I'd write the company and say.
let me ask you a
"Suggestion."
question. So, because I can't remember, I've only done it like twice this summer. When you sign up for a program, do you create an account?
Yeah.
So you can't just go into your account and look at all your programs and cancel.
You can go into your account, but,
But it's
you
your-
can't cancel.
Right, see, that's what I'm saying. Like you can, yeah. That would be something to talk to local hop about.
But you
if
can
that's
actually cancel if it's soon after you've made it, but if it's soon close to the date of
Right,
the
right.
program, then you
Then
can't.
you can't, okay.
Which that's what's kind of annoying.
Okay. All right.
I
Continue.
can check with Andy in case there's something
Yeah.
missing and I can refer him to you.
Oh, well, it's not, right?
Um,
It's just unnoticed.
So like, I think everything except for a couple of things at the end, which are my things, have been started,
Mm-hmm.
are progressing or completed.
Nice.
So I think they're making good progress on.
Is there anything from quarter 1 or quarter 2 that is not close to being finished?
No.
No. Okay.
Excellent.
I'm taking a class, a project management class, and darn it, I have homework for the first time.
There you go.
40 years, no, not 40 years. A long time.
Oh, good.
I got a question on the organizational health. Like you said, there are just some things near the end that haven't started. So we're more than halfway through the year. What types of things have you done relative to the goals for listening to your team more and those types of things?
Well, I've been asking for more and more feedback.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've been sending out emails. Just to give you an example, when I found out the bill for the HVAC was going to be $23,000, I sent out an email saying, "Hey, let's look for any cost savings. Can you give me some ideas of places?" And I got several people who gave me suggestions for ways that we could save money or raise more money.
So that one is kind of started, even though it's not highlighted there.
Yeah.
Have they made their Amazon wish list yet?
No.
Do that. You guys will get
Well, we
stuff
have
donated.
the wish list on the
That
thing.
only
and-
says snowshoes.
Well, that's because we got everything on our wish
Right,
list,
you
which
gotta
is
add more
very
stuff,
nice.
especially for
But
around
Brenny
the
is going to
tree.
add. Yeah, Brenny's going to add some stuff.
I'm
I will.
gonna keep
poke her.
bothering her too.
Tell her she needs to put that stuff on there.
I know.
Yeah,
mean,
I actually
that's
gave her
something you guys
permissions on the website
Okay.
so that she could do that.
Keep bothering her. People
think
will
you-
buy that stuff.
Since the one you have there about increasing employee satisfaction with the workplace,
Yeah.
with survey results, when do we expect to have information back from Jennifer so that when we start to look at things for the evaluation for the thing? So we don't want to have it be like December. So maybe you want to have stuff done by November, end of November,
October.
having some stuff.
Well,
So
because-
survey them and then get your results back so you can put that in as something that can be part of the evaluation.
We can do it in October and
Well, we usually send out that evaluation
November.
in November.
right.
Right. So just for your sake, just,
Before, I'll do it before
well,
that.
just so we have something
October.
to.
And you'll have done a whole bunch of different stuff throughout the year, like you just mentioned, so you know what, you can get feedback from people on whether that stuff was enough or if they were looking for more. Yeah.
Good point, Mike. Yeah. Any other questions about that?
Good work for everybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kudos to everybody.
Yeah. And I just want to reiterate that I think the goals that she sets for the year are doable and they're realistic and so they're attainable. And that's really important when she and we put together these plans, that we're not doing things that are above and beyond what can ever be obtained. So
I
job,
think-
everybody.
yeah, I think it's great. When we first started, I think you guys had way too many goals, and they were just striving
Little out of reach.
a little too much.
Some people are overachievers.
Yes, right. You do have a lot of overachievers on your staff, but everybody's been doing really good, and I think it's come down to a less burnout rate.
Well, and you hit the key things.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Right, the stuff that's it is really going to increase community involvement, or whatever it is, better programming, better resources.
Yeah, I think it just used to be that there'd be like 5 goals, and we're like, you don't need 5 for the same topic.
All right. Anything else about the strategic plan update? All right, we're going to move to old business. Last month we tabled the whole flooring and moving quotes. I just want everybody to notice that we were given a new estimate from Adair's. We have 2 estimates. The one in the pack was dated June 18th. We are not looking at that one,
Well, only
or are we?
the difference between this quote that's in the packet and the quote I gave you was I asked them to go back and add on the base.
Right, so first of all,
That's
make
it.
sure you either have June 18th and June 24th, or make sure that we are looking at June 24th. Is that correct?
That's the hard copy.
65,
Yes, that's the one we
798.
were handed tonight. Did anybody not get the copy dated the 24th? Okay, so that's the one we're looking at for Adair. And then we also have Bartz's, so, okay. All right, Jennifer, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say the first quote, the 63,898 was without doing the base, 65,78 is with the base. Bartz's quote is 62,633 without the base and 64,683 with the base. Annie, you can kind of speak to the base, like,
With the base 64,683.
yeah.
I mean, why would we not do the base if we're going through all the rigmarole of doing everything else? I mean,
You almost have to. I mean,
yeah, it would be silly not to.
It's only like $2,000 more, right?
Exactly.
Right,
Yeah,
and
it's silly.
everything is,
And we have to move
So
everything around,
expensive.
right? I
Yeah.
mean,
yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
we
you're
should
gonna do
doing
the
it with
base.
the base.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's no reason not to.
Absolutely.
Okay. I just had them quote both ways so that
Sure,
we could
sure.
compare. I mean, the base in a lot of areas is pretty scuffed and worn, so, yeah.
Now, something that I didn't see here, we've got the numbers for the costs, but there isn't anything in here. Is there a difference between how much time it will take between one and the
that's a
other?
good-
That is a good question.
That is a good
You know,
question.
they talk about what they're going to do, but they don't say
Say
how long
how long
it's
it's gonna
how long
take
we're going to
them.
be out of commission for that.
Sit this way on the finance.
And did they say like what sort of disruption? Like were they gonna have to close?
Well, if we do Yergis, we're
Well,
not.
that,
So it's in conjunction with the moving
Right,
stuff,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then,
so the important thing is to have whichever moving company we pick and whichever carpeting company we
Gotcha.
pick meet and have a plan on exactly how it's going to go about. I was told by
So we'll know once we make that decision.
yeah.
7 days to 2 weeks to plan on disruption. Closing the library would depend on which moving company you pick. If you pick Coakley, then we might have to close because we would have to unload books. But if we pick Yergis, they've got a machine that lifts the bookshelves up so that they can get rollers underneath them, and then they just roll the.
Arts is on you.
Now,
Bookshelves.
last meeting there was
I'm
the
missing
the open item was
Yergis wasn't there. The movers. We didn't have their thing yet.
we weren't sure if there was
Okay.
a certain type of shelf that they could move.
Right, and they can.
And they can. Okay.
Okay, so what is the difference in their?
They're less, right? Aren't they less than Coakley?
Not only are they less, but the staff is not going to have to empty all of the
Right,
bookshelves.
and we don't have to close.
They're picking them all up and moving them. So just the labor cost.
So, yeah,
Alone.
that's like not even a question.
All right, so do we want to go to agenda item 7B and deal with that first? Or,
Yeah, let's do moving first.
because, yeah, all right.
Oh, do moving first?
Sure.
Why?
Well, it doesn't
Well,
matter, I guess.
Is that going to
We
affect
can
you?
stay in the line of the agenda. That's less,
Okay.
yeah, that's fine.
All right, so I was just consulting with Annalee here. There's not either I'm missing it, or is there a total
Yeah, it's
on the Bartses? Like, I don't have like
I had to add
64,
them up.
683.
That's what
I have-
Jennifer told us.
Yeah. I have to add them up.
Okay, what,
Yeah.
there's no total line. What is the
She
total
said
for
it's
Bartses?
64,683
Okay.
with the base.
So which one are we doing in the Bart's one? Are we doing A, B, or C?
Okay, so we would do A. It's the
Okay.
interface solution dyed
I
nylon
just wanna
open
make
air
sure she
2
knows.
is the
Okay.
one that the committee.
That's the stuff that we showed at the
Okay.
Yeah,
last
I just
meeting.
want to make sure.
That one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's a difference of like $1,100 between Adair and Bart's.
But what does the Buildings and Grounds Committee?
Wait, if we're gonna vote on this, did you wanna exit? Or are you okay?
Well, because I'm not employed by either company,
Oh, okay,
I'm
that
just in
changed.
the industry.
Okay.
Right.
I just wanted to make sure you
Yeah,
would've got
and
on
know.
thank
those.
you. Yeah,
Yeah,
the
I was
company-
wondering.
The
And you
quote
didn't-
that my company provided was excluded at the last
Oh,
meeting.
okay.
Okay, so
Oh, that's right.
our Bart's, are we comparing apples to apples here? Is what Bart's is going to provide us with exactly what Adair is?
I got it as
Yep,
close as I could,
okay. I just want to make sure everybody here
Yeah.
is aware of that. And so our we are voting on whether we go with Bartz's at 64,683 or Adair at 65,798. Not really having any idea of what they are estimating their length of time to be, because we don't really know with the moving and stuff. Correct?
Well, once they
Right,
they
yeah.
meet, and
Right,
I would
exactly.
anticipate at least around 2 weeks.
Right. So that's
That's what we plan.
So
I
they
mean,
move,
So those
they
two
meet
numbers
with the
are-
movers and figure it out?
materials and labor. Gotcha. Okay. And what would Buildings and Grounds like to present
Right.
to our committee or to our board?
Well, I mean, to be totally honest with you, I think that Jennifer should make this choice.
Okay.
I do. It's $1,100.
Right.
I mean,
It's not a big difference.
and she's been working with
Exactly.
them personally.
Yep.
and they're both great.
And she likes them both, so I think that it should come down to her.
Okay.
Do you concur?
Because I think our
I
committees
would-
should present a recommendation, and we just vote to approve or
Well,
whatever.
my one concern was one better at working with commercial projects than another, so I did ask them, and they.
Good. Yeah.
And Michelle, you may have some more experience with that. They're both good with commercial.
They're probably both good with commercial. Pat Bartz is very good at commercial. That's his
Both of
whole
them,
career.
both
His
of them
best
have been
is-
so
yeah,
helpful.
they're
Both of them
probably
been
good
very
as well.
helpful with me. You know,
And have
just,
both companies, did you ask specifically if they have worked with Coakley and Yergis?
uh,
I'm sure.
no,
Okay.
like
Yeah.
Pat had not worked with either one, and Adair gave me that first company,
Right,
SFI,
Okay.
They were
Oh, okay.
expensive.
All right.
and yeah.
All right. So Jennifer, what is your gut, or what would you like to
Well, I'd
recommend?
probably go with the less expensive, just because 1,100 is 1,100. But I know it's not a whole lot, but
It's every penny.
I mean, if they're.
every penny.
All right.
Yes.
So
And I
then-
feel good that Michelle.
Yeah. Just knows
Feels
that they
like
both
they-
work well, or
Yeah,
or
Tom
they
Bartz
would
is the-
work well
yeah.
with commercial.
Tom Bartz is the owner now of Bartz's Dentist. The former owner retired.
Okay.
And that is his nephew who fought over the company, and Rob Adair is obviously the
Sure.
president of Adair. So I mean, they're both equally.
Okay. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion we choose the Bart's estimate.
Did you second it? Okay. Annie and Alan. Any other Questions or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed or abstained? Motion carries.
I'd also like to make a motion that we accept Yurgi's estimate for the moving.
I'll second.
Okay.
Can I have a little discussion about that?
Yes, because we haven't voted, so that was Annie and, yeah, I'm sorry. All these A's.
AV and AD.
A-B, okay. Annie and Annalee, okay.
So
What do
when
you
I
want to tell us?
when I did the, I budgeted 67,000
Yes.
for the carpeting project.
Okay,
And 64, we're looking at almost 65,000. That only leaves 2,000.
okay.
So my concern is, where are we gonna get the money? Are we gonna do a budget amendment? And the only other possibility would be to carpet around the bookshelves, but,
No, we're not doing that.
Greenfield
us.
Library did
I know.
carpet
And
around
tell them what
bookshelves.
happened.
And then the staff wanted to rearrange
Right.
and
You
they can't.
You
Yeah,
can't.
you're
Or
not
it
doing
like
that.
scuffs
No.
up
It's not even a
around.
You
option.
use all
No.
flexibility
Yeah.
for like changing anything in the library.
Like, what do we keep talking
Well-
about in all of our community sessions? How people want more meeting rooms and things
Right.
changed around.
And
No way.
If you were to cut around the bookshelves, the labor would skyrocket because for an
Oh.
installer's point of view, that's extra cuts and intricate cuts.
So it
Yeah.
doesn't
So
really
it's less
save.
labor to
No,
just
it's
put the
just a
carpet down
nice.
without having to do all
see,
those cuts.
see.
I mean, that would take and the library would be closed longer. I mean, there's just so many negative things about leaving the shelves.
How
up,
much,
So.
how much are we looking over what was budgeted?
Right.
12?
10 grand,
10.
It's about 10.
10.
over,
Is that-
because, we're
10 to
looking
11
between 13 and 14.
But yeah, and carpet's a petroleum-based product, so.
Yeah.
Can't get friends to do another
Yeah, it goes up.
another fundraiser to do a.
I don't have a meet. We don't have a
Carpenter.
meeting until September.
Can we,
They are
can we
doing
do it out of
quite a
fund
few, though.
balance?
We have to do an amendment to the budget,
Well, so
which
we've
we
done
can
that in
do.
the
Yeah,
past.
which we can do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I can bring
I
that to
think
the
it's
board
a-
next month.
Yeah.
Project that needs to be done.
Yeah. It's,
And if you're talking about
Okay, we're not
having
spending the money
Yergis
on
come in
food.
with little lifts that will move our shelves or whatever, versus all of us coming in for 6 hours hauling books off
And
shelves
closing the
then-
library.
and closing the
and-
library. I don't know.
What is the difference in the price?
10 to 12.
I still think it's worth it to hire the moving company and not put
Oh,
that
yeah.
on your employees.
Oh no, the difference in price is negligible. It's
Yeah.
just that it's over the
It's
budgeted
over the
amount.
budget.
no,
Yeah.
I think we're just
I
saying the
know.
other option would be for us to move it ourselves. which
Right.
In my mind, really is not an option.
We can't do that.
Yeah, we have to do their normal job. So
I
we're
mean-
doing like another job on top of their normal job. now.
Yeah, I mean, I
Yeah,
think
I
that would
think-
be.
Well, no, but moving the shelves, how? Like who?
Or
Yeah,
moving the
right.
You
books.
and me are gonna hoist up some
Yeah, no,
shelves.
no, no.
community program. Oh,
Get the high school
Well, and we
football
talked
team in
about
here.
that, right, hey?
Yeah.
it
Okay,
would be a mess.
so any other discussion on that? Thank you for though bringing that up,
We have to vote
Jennifer,
on it
'cause- No, I know, I
We
know.
got a motion in a second.
Yeah.
Yeah,
One other issue too is that we would keep the shelves that are by the pillars would not move, because there's the burgundy broad loom
Mhm.
carpet that's already there,
okay.
and we would just carpet around that.
What? Why?
Because
We need to have a little field
like-
trip. and
you
do
Because
like
of
that.
the
that
pillars.
carpet?
huh?
Because of the pillars.
Yeah.
And
So
that's,
in our
that's
budget
what-
already assumes we're not going to replace that area.
that's what Bart's
Yeah.
and Adair both said.
Well, Yergis can't move it, and I talked to Pat, and he said, well, that's fine, they can.
Okay.
Oh.
Oh, because it's around. That's
Set
around.
of shelves is not gonna move,
Right,
Because of the pillars,
but they're gonna cut around.
yeah.
and that's in their estimate. So we're good.
So you got pictures for all this, videos,
PowerPoint.
the making of a library.
So
I
for
don't know.
those of you that didn't walk out there,
Okay, so why
there's
can't-
pillars,
you
and
can't-
between the pillars, there's a burgundy carpet. They would not lift that up and redo that.
Because
Can't
they
they
can't move the shelves?
Out, they can't, they'd have to go over and out with the shelves. We'd have to unload the shelves at that point.
Yergis would.
Yeah.
Because they're a machine that will go under and
And
lift and move them.
Move it this way. Think of it like it's moving straight out, but the pillars are in the way, which means we'd have to unload.
So the way they're going to move them is they're going to take that column of shelving and they're going to move it this way.
Mhm.
They're not going to move it over that way.
Right. So
Okay.
everything will go into the middle of the library. The
Gotcha.
carpet will get replaced over here, and then everything, the shelves will get moved back.
Only move it in one
over.
direction.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Oh.
And they move in one direction.
So we don't want to just take the pillars out.
That's probably a structural issue.
Yeah,
Maybe that
right.
wouldn't be a good idea.
Maybe we should call Johnson Controls and see what they
Right.
So you
Okay.
don't want to replace the burgundy.
It's perfectly fine.
It's
Nobody
really
ever
just
walks
I
under
do-
the shelves.
As we're looking into the possibility of rearranging for more meeting rooms, and you're just having shelving moved, this might be a time to think about where those meeting rooms would go as shelves are being moved.
Well, we can't.
So we don't have to do it
we
again,
can't
but-
do construction.
Yeah, what do you?
I
know,
what
I'm
you
just
mean.
saying, think about
like,
where it might be. So we
maybe
don't
don't
Once you
put
have an open
shelves.
space, just kind of think about
Like maybe don't put a
back of
shelf
an envelope,
back
make a thing.
in some areas or something.
Well,
you
we
know,
would have to.
That's another project.
it would be a
that
different
would
project, but it's
see because we can't we can't build
Yeah, I'm
study rooms
confused.
back here.
What,
We're not-
what do you mean about making more meeting rooms?
well, that's one of the things that we are going to be thinking about in
Mhm.
the strategic plan is because that's something that is always booked and everybody is really talking about wanting. So I'm not saying that we're going to be building, but I'm just thinking like if
There are.
we don't know
like-
what we're
right.
doing in the thing. But
Yeah.
I know you had talked about we do have the ability to possibly adding meeting rooms. So if that's
Like-
something
They're not meeting. They're like little
with like
Cubicles,
dividing
walls.
walls.
cubicles
yeah.
with that you walk into, and they look like rooms, but they
Right.
don't require then new vents
Perfect.
run to them and.
Is that in any wherever you can see putting those? Is that in anywhere where we're
I'd probably put them where the
Remove the
pods are.
Mhm.
okay? So that shelves would not be needed to be moved to do that.
Sounds like if you were going to
We
do
would
that,
need
you're
the
going to have to
shelves.
purge and eliminate
We
shelving.
would have to purge so
Not
many
enough
books
space to
because
move
when we do the children's project, fiction has to move over here. We'd have to purge so many books.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to think like
Yeah.
ahead so that we're
Is
not
the
then
burgundy
moving
carpeting
more shelves.
under those shelves? Okay.
Only under those shelves.
Right, right.
Yeah.
But it's under it, it's not around.
Kind of interesting that they did that, but
Yeah, why did they do that?
because
All
it's
right.
not under
Any
other
other
shelves.
discussion about the moving quotes?
The point was made that when you're going to move the shelves because to do all that cutting would just make it astronomically more expensive. Keeping the burgundy carpeting, how does that impact it?
It's already in the quote.
They've
Yeah.
looked at that and it said,
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So that's part of the numbers
Right,
we.
they're
Yeah.
aware. They're
Okay.
aware of it.
Okay.
okay,
Yes.
thank you.
All right, we have a motion on the floor then, made by Annie, seconded by Annalee, to approve the Yergis quote for the moving of the shelves. Any other question or discussion about that?
We do have the money elsewhere that we can move, correct?
Oh, yeah.
Fund balance.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed or abstained? Okay, that motion carries. Deep breath. Agenda item 8. Council actions, Michelle. Related to the
In our last common council meeting, we had Johnson Controls come in and present the comprehensive efficiency program. So I was going to share this with everyone, but it is in our packet. So
Yeah,
there is really no need to, and I'm sure I'm not telling you anything new, but they're looking to begin replacing the boiler system next month.
They did
Other
scale
than
it.
that, really nothing else. I know.
They did. I wanted to note I may have mentioned that they did scale it back a little bit. Like this, there's only solar arrays on half of the roof.
Right.
Oh,
Instead of
yeah.
the whole roof.
That was obvious
Um,
that they really cut that down
Yeah.
quite a bit. It's like half.
Yeah, because
What
of
we're
they had to
talking
fit within a certain budget.
Sure.
So
Okay.
that's so like Jeff when I met with him said, that could be part of phase 2
Right.
would be-
Adding it
more.
is not, yeah, out of the question.
Maybe since we're
That's
gonna have to
something.
have that roof redone at some point, that might be okay.
Well,
Did they
that's
ever come back
wonderful.
out and
Yeah,
have
the common
somebody else
council
look
is
at it
moving,
again, or no?
seeing the benefit of moving forward with this
Oh,
citywide
definitely.
project, so.
Without a doubt.
yeah.
Be proactive and
Yes,
and it'll cost less. so,
yeah, yeah, for sure. All right, anything else? You're good?
Oh,
Michelle?
I'm done.
Yeah,
Yes, thank
okay,
you.
super. All righty. You're doing nothing because it's summer,
Yeah,
I'm
right.
sure, right? No. Annalie,
Always
what's
stuff
going on?
going on.
Right, I know.
Usually we
right?
give updates on the numbers of books we're checking out. That's an important update.
Yeah, for sure, for the
With
summer.
our units of study and Lucy Calkins curriculum, which we've had in the district for like over a decade. Reading at great volumes is a huge part of it. So we have huge libraries in our classroom, but it's always nice to report out on those numbers too from that curricular aspect. We're looking at, actually in the last year, we've adopted Haggerty, which is really phonics based, and Lexia, especially for our youngest age students. So that's some of the things we're putting into place to hit the areas where we're seeing gaps in our learning that came from being very strictly Lucy Calkins curriculum. So we've seen great success in that and engagement with the students. So Haggerty's been exciting. It's about 10 minutes every day in our classrooms. Very hands-on with the teacher and hand motions, working through the sounds. And Lexia is computer-based, so it works at the student's level. So as they get things right, it gets more challenging or it repeats skills. So that's allowed like our workshop or our tiered interventions in the classroom. So when we're working with students that maybe aren't quite yet at proficiency in a standard, to be able to get more time maybe with that teacher while other students are engaged at learning at their level. And the teachers very easily can access that data to align those groups like on a daily basis. So that's been a really neat adjustment we've had this past year that will continue into the next year. And we've kept Lexia open this summer for students to work on at home. So that's been really nice discussions within the district to say like why if we have reading slips and slides back in the summer, as they always call it, for those families that maybe don't visit this library as often, this offers an opportunity for kids if they have access and they can keep working. So their Chromebooks went home with them for the summer. And if families choose to just shelf them and charge them or didn't want them home, they could have still left them at school. But if they took them home, they could still be logging into those programs or accessing library
nice.
through ebooks and things like that. So first summer that's really opened up more. So it'll be exciting to have some of that data as we get back and work with Jill Polglaze to pull some of that and our reading specialists. And then we also are adopting SAVIS, which is Curricular Resource and Literacy, K-8. So that was piloted through a lot of teachers, probably almost a third of our K-8 staff or quarter were piloting between two resources. And this was the one that came out on top for a variety of reasons. So our staff went through a PD day on their last day as students left, like literally up to 5 minutes before their end of their contracted year. They were engaged with vendors on site, learning the resource, and then in about 2.5 weeks we have them all back in working through. So this will be a fun year of adopting that, taking the great skills we learned with workshop model in the classroom, which is really about reading and writing at a large level and rewriting and working through those skills in a workshop, but now being able to build in more of some of the areas where we were seeing gaps over the years. So a lot of like very jargony education stuff, but exciting that we have a lot of pieces that we're continuing, some great pieces coming in, and then obviously the state's layered in Act 20 for us to document our interventions that we'd already been doing, but in the format that fits their ideal way. So lots of fun ahead.
Nice.
Yeah.
I have 2 questions. Oh, did you have something?
You started.
Okay, I have 2 questions for you. Number 1, has the school system at all been thinking about doing any kind of project like the Johnson Controls project? I know you have a brand new middle school and you have referendums coming up, but is anything like that? I'm just curious. This is just a,
Energy saving?
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, it's replacement, it's, everything that they're doing for us. I'm just
We've done.
I'm just a taxpayer asking this question.
We've done light replacement
Right.
in a variety
Okay.
of the schools that will get kicked back over time.
I wish I remember the percentage off the top of my head, but almost all
Yeah,
complete
yeah.
through last summer
Okay.
and then adjustments this summer.
Okay.
Solar panels, we've talked about it.
Yep.
We're studying districts that have done it
Right.
to see what
Yep.
the actual gain is. And we've
Yep.
also looked at the geothermal, but
Oh,
haven't
yeah.
seen the biggest kickback yet from districts on that. So
Oh,
as we
okay.
go through referendum
Sure.
and depending what
Yeah.
the community decides to support,
Yep.
like that's data we're going to continue to
Okay.
watch so that when we get to that decision making point, we know if those schools that have had it in place for
Mhm.
5 or 10 years are actually seeing the kickback that
Mhm.
was projected to take place. So yeah, always in the forefront of discussions
Gotcha.
in a few
Yeah.
ways that we've implemented.
Yeah, my second question is, how can the library complement this? I know that there's a lot of stuff going on in the schools, and you have limited resources, and we have limited resources. But does something stand out to you, whether it's programming or materials or anything that we could complement each other and not duplicate or not? you know?
Sure.
And maybe that's more a question for Jill or
Definitely
you know,
keeping Jill in on it. I think she's in the strategic planning committee
Yeah.
and another one. But I would say, I think being able to come into the elementaries and talk about the summer reading programs, like those are the harder things to measure, but the more we're getting kids in the library in the summer
Mhm.
and engaged in reading, right? The Bennett household's checking out 10 books a week, right?
Mhm,
So we have 9-year-old reading like crazy. If that's happening in every household, we're not going to get reading slip, right? But we do. So
Mhm, mhm.
any ways we can engage in that way. I think our Gear Up, our more personalized professional development we've been doing, we've
Mhm.
partnered a number of times and we're constantly
Mhm.
looking to build that.
Mhm.
We want to get more, like COVID kind of closed down people coming in schools. So we're
Right.
trying to open that back up and continuing those conversations with the community.
Mhm.
So I always think of that too, of like just reading buddies, especially in the elementary school. Sometimes it sounds so easy, but it really is that. Sometimes kids don't have that at home, and it doesn't mean families aren't trying. They might be working third shift or
Right.
running other kids in the family around, and there's just not somebody to sit and read and help through that. And so we want to even build in some of those simple things that come back in that really make an impact and just connect to like our
Mhm.
community. But that's what's off the top of my head. So I'm sure there's more.
Yes. Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right.
I was just going to ask Jennifer, the comment that you have on here under the summer reading programs, not all the FPS elementary schools allowed them. What does that mean?
Jill worked really hard to get us into all of the elementary schools, but there were a couple that said no, that she just couldn't get us in.
Oh, what was involved with getting in?
Scheduling issues, maybe.
So one of the librarians goes there and talks about the summer reading program.
Yeah, both of them do. They make a whole day of it. They schedule it at the different elementary schools. They were saying there were just a couple that Jill wasn't able to
Yeah.
get them in.
Then it just becomes a scheduling thing, right?
Well,
Last
That
year
would be my-
we made sure all the
Yeah.
handouts were given out.
Yes.
This year we did the same, so that we're with every
the
student.
handouts go out.
And if there were schools that they weren't allowed in, this is the first I heard of it. So I would say
Just
my
something
guess would be that the scheduling came a little late. And like,
But you use that
Well, and I'm
excuse a
also
lot.
thinking, right, if
That
there's,
you
I'm
don't
sorry,
hear of
excuse me?
things. You use that excuse a lot. That you
I
just
do?
don't hear of things.
oh, I'm sorry, give me an example, please.
Like how you just didn't hear of all the problems at Ben Franklin. You didn't know about all of them.
I don't know what you're talking about. Like,
Exactly.
oh, that's offline.
Yeah, that's extremely offline.
So maybe just we know that every year the summer
Yeah,
reading
like we
thing
talked about it
is,
last
and if
year, and
it's a
it's
Well, and I was just
yeah.
asking because
Yeah.
if there was something else
Something
layered on,
intentional.
like if they're already having
But I can't do
materials
anything
handing
in July
out,
about it.
there would likely
Unless
be
you
some
know me, reach
value
out.
that the
not
librarians
related as
would
coordinator.
offer. So if it's like no harm, right? As long
Yeah.
as everybody gets the information
And
about it.
maybe
we're
next year
okay.
it'll be different. I don't know exactly. I just know Jill's always been great about
Yeah.
getting us in.
Okay.
She just said there were a couple she couldn't.
She
And
couldn't
like you said, it could be
coordinate, yeah.
total scheduling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It could have been the day they wanted to go in.
Right.
Well,
Exactly.
yeah, and you answered the
Exactly.
question.
Yeah.
They're all getting the material anyway, so it's
Right. Yeah. Good.
Okay.
All right. Perfect. All right. As far as my report goes, I attended so far one of those concerts in the park. It was I think we learned a few things. As far as communication and that, has there been another one since then or no? Have
Well,
you been to one?
I have not been to one.
I
There
was
another
at
one.
the really awful heat
Oh,
one, heat
Oh.
humidity one.
okay.
Yeah.
Did you
So-
implement any of our ideas? Brianna had a lot.
I did the freeze pops. We sold water.
Okay, so we did the water one. We
Yeah.
did that when we were there last time.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just think that you know, as it goes forward, maybe not even this year, but next year, it could be improved.
Every
you know?
year. we
Every
could have
year,
improvements.
exactly. So
There was some question about having soda. Was that?
Brianna suggested so.
I
potentially.
nixed that
Okay.
only because
I know.
it's already, we're hauling tons of stuff.
We had
in.
Brent with us, so we had Brent like getting
Yeah,
things
you
for
had a
us.
hauler.
So
I didn't
maybe
have
what
a
we do
hauler.
next time.
Yeah.
I had 2 staff members who have back.
Yeah,
I was
no,
the
I had
hauler.
Brent and
But
Brianna.
beyond the soda and water, there was timing communication issues and meeting communication
Yeah.
issues. So I think maybe if there are people other than the library staff involved, I think some better communication could be in place. That's all I was going to say about the event. It went well. People enjoyed being there. It's, so anyways.
Yeah, we got there. We had a lot of people come up at the beginning.
Yeah.
A lot of people came up at
Yep.
what they call halftime.
Yeah.
Right. Yep.
I thought the concert organizer, Doug, I thought he did a good job of highlighting the library and health department table.
From a library board staff standpoint, we weren't sure where to meet. We weren't sure what
Oh,
time
that.
to meet. We
Okay.
weren't sure what we were doing, where to go, what to do. So whoever the staff member was should communicate with the library board.
That
so
is
now
correct.
looking forward
We
to
have one
the
this
Milkman
Sunday.
game.
Oh,
Anybody involved in that, I would just maybe recommend, some clear communication.
I can
about
have
that.
Laura send
Yeah.
that out since
Yeah.
she's kind of the
Yep.
organizer.
But
of
it
those.
seemed to go
Did
good.
you
So
get
that's
a tent for that,
For which one?
for the Milkman game.
The pop-up tent?
Yeah.
Yeah. that
yeah,
would be
that's
great.
yeah. If we have that.
But we haven't gotten a logoed one yet. We do have
When
a
is
tablecloth.
So August, that's
4th.
probably in yours, but I was just going to remind the board that as board members, August 4th is a Milkman game. And so, Jennifer, would you please make sure you send out something so that board members could indicate whether they could be there or not to help?
Yeah.
That way. And foundation members, right?
Because
It
it's a
is really a
foundation.
It's a foundation
event.
Foundation
Yeah, yeah.
fundraiser, and
So
we
you
usually
were-
have had pretty
Yeah.
good
Yes.
participation by.
And
But the more the merrier, because the more people we have selling the 50-50 raffle, the better,
And Annie, if I could recommend to you to the foundation, are you meeting before?
You already
the
said that, and no, but I did send an email.
fourth? Okay, super. All right, sounds good.
How are we going to be identified?
We have aprons
And we have our
Give you a
board
little
member
name
tags.
and name. You
Our
have
name tags.
Like I said, usually you have people that it's gotten some type of neon color, or something.
Well, we have
Well,
the
like-
library apron.
Like, yeah,
You
I
want
mean,
like
depends on
a
the
book?
club,
Wear a
like
book on
t-shirt.
your head?
No, it'd fall off.
Wait, so you did send an email out on it?
No,
Or
not
yet.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
To the foundation.
yeah, okay. Sounds good.
Did you send one to the foundation?
To Barbara.
Oh, to Barbara. Okay.
Are they the same kind of T-shirts everyone could wear? Like, if I am able to help, I'd be happy to purchase one. Or so that
next
way you
week.
kind of stand out. Like,
It's next
The
week.
aprons usually kind of help
They do.
with that
They do,
because
yeah.
it's a summer reading,
And
so it
has,
does
like,
say
the library summer reading.
There we go.
yeah. And
All
I
right.
usually
Then we
Yeah.
got it.
well, it's a week from Sunday, right?
Yes.
And the nice thing about the aprons is you can
I
tuck
don't know.
your money.
Right, they're like
you can have
t-shirts
your
ready.
money
Just
and your
not
tickets in
Representing
there.
the library, Mike.
No. I just with all the people walking around, you just want to make sure it just
Yeah.
stand
Okay.
out.
Not too many people coming. All right, we'll move on to agenda item 11 for Jennifer's report.
Yeah, it was a short one. I had a fun week last week.
I guess.
So, yeah, I can't wait for school to start.
Do we know who the kids are?
You send them back to
Yeah.
Annalee.
Do we know who those kids are? Do you know who they are? No. How did they come back?
So, no, because I scared them.
With the camera. Yeah.
They won't be coming. If they come back, I'd be amazed.
What happened?
So one night, Wednesday night, I worked, and
Seen that.
we had a group of kids back here in the corner. They weren't making a lot of noise, but they were creating a lot of
Disruption.
problems and disruption, and filming themselves and throwing cousin subs up on the top of the shelf, and then it went down on the other side, and it smelled like cousins.
You need somebody on social media to see.
And they
this.
dumped, yeah, I did, and they dumped a soda. I mean, we saw it all on camera.
Good.
So that was a group of 3, and then the next day there was another group of 3, and they had to have known about it. It was a totally separate group of 3, but they were beating a line back to this corner, and that I'm betting that they probably posted a
Sure.
video somewhere, and so they were probably coming in to see it, and I intercepted them and got them out of there. So anyway, it's just, yeah. And then we had another group of 3 hanging out in the children's tree area, just causing problems.
Who'd you call the cops on? Which group?
The one that threw the sub up and destroyed the book.
But they were already gone.
They were gone, but we reviewed the tape and saw everything that they were doing. I mean, the one kid was standing on that chair right there, and he had himself pulled up on almost on top of that shelf. Filming. They were filming.
So,
I hate TikTok.
you know, if in the past we've had shelvers who are in the school system, or maybe members of Volition. I don't know if it is acceptable for them to view any of that. Yeah, Annie's saying no.
It was
minors. You
It was
Right.
referred to the police
Oh, okay.
department.
All
and-
right.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
So we also had an incident where a woman that was also referred to the police department. A woman said that another woman hit
Right,
her
and
car,
bumped her
pulled
car.
forward
Yeah.
too far, and damaged the front of her car. That was also referred to the police department.
Okay.
And then I did have to send a letter banning a patron for 3 months today for incontinence and for continued incontinence in the library. So
Is it resulting in replacing furniture?
no, because
Okay.
we've got the vinyl furniture that we
Gotcha.
pull and we
Okay. All
Clorox
right.
it down.
Okay.
But it's on the carpet.
Right. Well, that yeah.
We have special
Right,
enzymatic
right.
cleaner that we use, but I mean my staff
Yeah.
shouldn't have
No.
to be
Nope. No.
No.
cleaning that up all the time.
Yeah, no.
All right. That is absolutely.
Do we help get them connected with like the health department?
Yes,
Something?
that's
Yes.
what they would need.
So he.
Yeah.
So this has been going on for 2
Good.
weeks, and
Yeah.
I called our health department. He's not a Franklin resident, but she did talk to the health department of the community he lives in, and they said they had been trying to reach out to him
Okay.
with no success. So they were kind of excited that he was coming here. So I gave
Yeah.
him their phone number and told him that he
He should.
needed to make contact with them, which he tried, but then he said he couldn't get through to him. He had to leave a message, so they were going to call him back. And I'm like, well, they're having a hard time getting. I just feel like it's a loop.
Yeah.
But today, yeah, it was.
Okay. Okay.
So yes, a referral was made to the health department. So hopefully, I'm hoping they follow up on it.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. Okay. All right. And then we have the Milkman game and National Night Out the very next day. It looks like.
And yeah, we
So-
can use the volunteers.
So, again, you'll maybe send out something to ask for commitments from us for that event also? Could you do that in one email, or?
I can do it in one email.
Okay, that'd be
Sounds
great.
good.
August 4th and August 5th. Okay. All right.
And then you see the comprehensive efficiency program. And then the FPL at a glance. We had a pretty good month. Our physical circ was down, but our electronic circ was up, and I think we were up overall for the month because of the eCirc. eCirc
Yeah.
has been
Yeah.
really doing
I
really
bet during
well.
the summer for sure. Yeah. Good.
And the locker holds for some reason don't print out when I convert it to a PDF, but they've been up as well. I think we had 174.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm gonna have to troubleshoot. I was too tired on Friday night to troubleshoot.
To try to.
But they're there. When I look at my spreadsheet, the
Okay.
locker holds are there.
Alrighty. Anything else then, Jennifer?
No.
Okay. Annie, is there any report from the foundation?
Milkman game.
Gotcha.
Christmas, if you are going through your
That's right,
holiday stuff,
decorations.
we will take your unwanted
Yeah, but when are we
holiday
taking it?
decorations. October 1st to October, most of the month of October.
Oh, what are we
October
doing with
7th.
it?
We're selling
Selling
them.
You're just selling Christmas stuff?
Yeah.
All
Thanksgiving,
holidays.
Christmas, all holidays.
Okay. And then, Terry, you gave a colon report last month, so is there, do you have one this month?
Sort of.
Okay, go for it.
I was, well, wasn't I exactly. My wife was signed up for a, I guess, class, a convention for weavers.
Oh, sure.
And I'd say weavers is kind of like a cult, but I won't say that. But so we wound up driving down and back to Wichita, and broke it up into 2 half days, and so on and so forth. And she was in classes half a day on Saturday, and then 3 days during the week. So, but it conflicted with colon. And so what I did was just kind of kicked around the idea of in a situation like that, if you're not driving, well, or maybe even if you are driving, but if you're not driving, if you're a passenger in a car, you're on some trip, vacation, whatever, but could you then plug into something like Colend or whatever? And apparently there is stuff available for that kind of thing. I mean, people can, they can work on the road or whatever. Well, we didn't get, I wasn't able to put that together, but it was something just something we thought about. And so, that's the closest I came to a report for a meeting, is that I did have contact with one of our liaison for electronic stuff, for computer type stuff, and
Sure.
communication type stuff at Colend, and it apparently is not anything that's, certainly nothing unknown. It's not that complicated. Well, it's probably complicated, but it's not likely to be a problem to set up. So that's just sort of a sideline thing to see if people who are on these various boards and so on and so forth can, if they want, if they got dead time, wherever they are, and they're in movement. I mean, you can sit in the waiting areas at the airport or something like that, but it's a little different when you're in the car. So just making that maybe a little better known, and people may run into that situation of, they're the passenger, they're not doing anything, and they can kind of participate in whatever the meeting is.
So we discussed that when we redid our bylaws. And so I would just suggest to you taking a look at our bylaws, and if you want to look at that section about meeting attendance, because I know we had gone through being able to attend by phone, but not doing a Zoom meeting, because then with open meeting things, that was kind of complicated. But we did definitely put stipulations in our bylaws the last time we revised them regarding the type of attendance that could be counted as attendance. So just peek at that, and maybe that would help you as you move forward with your people on Colend, to give them some ideas how to handle situations like that.
I suppose you could be in a situation where you can't really don't have any input directly, but if you didn't want to miss a meeting like this and you're on the road, you could listen in, even though you're just you're driving around and you're being driven around in your car,
Right. Yeah.
or you're at
So
you're in a
take
truck
a peek
stop
at that
or whatever.
again. Yeah.
Okay.
It's accessible on our on the website.
Sure.
So yeah. All right. So the strategic plan committee is meeting Is that tomorrow?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Tomorrow at 5:30
Right.
here. Well, not here, in the Phaedra room. And then our next meeting is August 26th.
I won't be here.
Okay, so no Judy. Anyone else know for sure today that they're not going to be here?
Good chance I won't be.
Good
Well, that
chance.
means Very good chance.
Oh,
I will let
okay.
you know.
I'm just going to
Put me down as
put
no,
you as a
and I'll
no, and
surprise
then
you.
if you,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, the changes, I'll let you know.
All right, I make a motion, we adjourn.
I
Second.
second.
Whoa.
Oh,
okay.
who wants to take it?
Let Michelle have it.
Annie and Michelle, all in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed or abstained? Motion carries. You guys have a great